Okay, so I'm sitting on my little bench here in the middle bed, and from here we can look out over to the field. Way off in the distance is a pink flowering crab tree. When we first moved here, I thought it was a dead apple tree, and I pruned it and fed it, and it came back to life, and it was a flowering crab tree. And a little bit to the right of that is an apple tree we planted, Honey Crisp, and I got 15 apples off of it last year. In front of that, closer to me here, are 6 blueberry bushes, high bush, that we put in, and also I have 3 thornless black raspberries there. And Richard has to mow. So off over this way are some shrubs that I put in many years ago. Korean spice bush, there's Leucothea, there's I forget the name of it, burning bush. I have an azalea, Japanese Andromeda, and some viburnums that have red berries in the fall. And here's one of the Japanese flowering crabs I planted in 2009 to line the driveway. Below that, if I go over this way a little bit, I'll walk up a bit. This is my peony border. So I dug up a couple of peonies from a property that I used to live at, and the name of those were Festiva Maxima. They're beautiful white big bomb peonies with scarlet in the middle. Beautiful. And I ended up dividing them and making 38 babies. And I planted them all in here. There's some irises. And they have done very well. Because it was all one color mostly, I ended up buying about, I think, 11 or 12 colored peonies, fuchsia, pink, yellow, just to put in here amongst the white. I'll get another video when they're all in bloom. They're all budding out now. Down here is some phlox, which blooms in the fall, actually in August. There's more peonies and daylilies there. This daylily here is a beautiful yellow with huge flowers. I'll just kind of walk down this way and go around. This is my lilac, French lilac we planted, and I have some flowers up there. They're just coming in. Actually, they're buds. They're not flowered yet. And moving around, there's the seat. I was just sitting in that seat. And here are the boulders, and there's the other flowering Japanese crab. And I've been working in this area over the past couple of days. As my friend Jamie, I keep telling her I went out for 2 hours, I went out for 3 hours, just working and still doing winter cleanup. I have to pull all these little ferns out amongst all the daylilies because they're invaders. Everybody says, should I worry about ants on my peonies? Well, you should not worry about them, and you should let them be, because I don't know if you can see it, but this peony bud has a little shiny nectar on it. And that's what the ants love. Let me see if I can get one over here. I'm not very good with this. There's a little drop of dew on there, and that's nectar. So what the ants do is they come up and they eat them, and they do not harm the plant at all, and you should just let them stay and don't spray. You don't want to kill any beneficial bugs. So here's my pile of weeds there. So this is where I've been working. There's a trumpet vine that the previous owners had planted, and they go crazy. And I've been cutting them out and cutting them out and cutting them out because they're so invasive. So yesterday I was up on these boulders cutting all the vines out. And here we have a lot of foxglove that I let grow naturally. Here's another one. Foxglove are biennial. They send up their greenery the first year, and then the second year they send up their greenery, and then they have flowers. and then they reseed. So every year you have green, and then some just with green and some with flowers. And here's some more foxglove in this little cove area where I feel like I'm in Mount Kearsarge. This is a lily that I forgot that I had planted one year, and it's coming up. Yay. I planted others in here, but I don't see them coming up, so that one survived. And I just let this foxglove do its thing. I have to get in here. I'm so sorry I'm shaking this thing while I'm walking. All the peonies in here, I have to do a little weeding. And we'll just walk up here, on this little trail. And this is a flowering almond, and it smells beautiful, as does the Korean spice bush. The whole yard just smells so sweet. So this is my beautiful, look at that. So pretty. Back in 2018, we had a tornado up here in New Hampshire, and this whole area was all beautiful pines back there, and they all got knocked down, as well as our telephone poles and whatever else, and thank goodness we didn't lose the house. So we had our friend Jim come in, and he cleared out all the dead trees and cleaned it up for us. I dumped about 3 big boxes of wildflower seeds in there, but it doesn't seem like anything took except some of the black-eyed Susans. Okay, so up on the driveway. Our driveway is about 500 foot long, so you can't really see the house from the road. And we'll just walk this way. My bleeding heart is in full bloom here. I hope I'm not going too fast. That's the bleeding heart, and that's that middle bed, and then you can see out to the field. And here's my bleeding heart, actually divided by itself and is growing into the peony over there, but that's fine with me. So now we're just going to walk down the driveway, and I'll show you a little bit more where I've been working. I'll walk up the driveway. The back hill on the left, actually, see that boulder? That's another one of those glacial boulders that's just been sitting there for thousands. And this is where I've been working here. This, my project for today was to get into this section and pull out all those ferns around the daylilies, and there's also wild blackberries in there, so I have to be careful. But I want to open this all up. There's daylilies, and here are those boulders I was working on. I'm sorry if I'm going really fast, Jamie. And here's another one of those beautiful flowers. They're just about over. The Japanese flowering crabs they were probably last week were the full bloom of those. So here's my work area from actually I think it was the day before yesterday. Trying to clear out this little bed. It looks like a mess right now, but I got to rake it all out. Those are all those vines that I cut off of the boulders. And this is another bed here. I transplanted some sedums right here in the front. And I have some quince here, that beautiful rhodie. And here's a red cherry. Oh, and there's a hummingbird. I don't know if you could see it flying around. There's a couple of hummingbirds dive bombing. I think they're mating. Oh, they just love the flowers here. There's a chipmunk. I throw bird seed into the driveway here, and in this time of year, we can't have any bird seed or bird feeders with seed in it because the bears come and actually pull over the poles that I have the feeders on and eat the seeds, and we can't have that because we have black bears around here in the woods. I had, for many years, bluebird houses out in the field, and every year I had the bluebirds come nest, and 2 years in a row the metal pole that we had them on was bent, and the bird houses were broken apart by the bear to get at the eggs, and I could not stomach losing babies or eggs anymore, so we don't put up the bluebird feeders, which breaks my heart. But I did see some bluebirds here, and I think they maybe found a hollow in a tree, and they're still coming around, so I was happy about that. Over this way is the hill that I've been trying to keep clean, and I'm letting the ferns grow here because when the tornado hit, we had to cut down a lot of trees, and unfortunately underneath that, the shade of the trees, the wild lady slipper orchids would grow in their environment, and now it's all sun. However, I was able, there are a few that have survived, and here's a beautiful girl right here. She's in full sun and probably saying it's too much, but look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? She's just growing here in the sun. She wants her shade. Up on this hill up here, there's many more under those trees. I've been planting actually in here as well. I've been plopping in some daylilies, whatever, just to make the hill look pretty. And there's the back rock garden. And I'll show you what's over here. I just don't want to go too fast. And I know I am. These are my Gibraltar azaleas. These actually were growing out in the field by the house when we first moved here, and they were tiny, tiny, tiny. I saw a little orange tangerine, actually it was like a tangerine orange flower, reddish orange, and I said, that's an azalea flower. So I dug it up, and it was an azalea, and I planted her here, and she's happy. So we'll go down this little path through these gardens. And I want to show you a tiger lily. Here's another rock. I don't know if you can see it, but right in there, right in front of the daylily, it's an upright lily plant. That's an orange tiger lily. And the story with that is, they were back in the 80s, they were actually, and before that in the 70s, there was a lady named Adelma Simmons who lived in Connecticut, and she had an old colonial home, and she planted many, many, many herb gardens, all different themes, the silver, the cottage, everything. It was exquisite. And she passed away, and her husband at the time couldn't keep it up, and there was all some legal problems. He was supposed to make it into a learning center, and he never did. So the house went into disrepair. It was a shame. We visited so many times. Well, my friend and I visited a couple of times, and one of our times we went there, she took when these tiger lilies grow to maturity, their little bublets, the way that they reproduce, are at the crook of the leaves, and they're little black, they look like little black beans. And she took a bunch of them, and when we got home, she gave them to me, and when I got here, I planted them there, and they've been coming up every year, just that one plant, and I'm happy about it. Over here is the hosta bed. I've been working on this a couple years back. The deer ate all the hostas as they were coming up, so I lost a beautiful season of hosta. This here is the bronze coral bells. And I have all different kinds of hostas in here. This one is so pretty. This is a sedum called Autumn Joy, and in the fall it has flower spikes and it has beautiful heads of pink flowers, and the bees love them. The bees kind of stay on there overnight. They kind of go dormant. This is the gorgeous hosta. I just love, this is as big as it's been. She's so pretty. And then here's a baby I put in there. I just propagated them. This one is coming back after being eaten by the deer a couple years in a row. And I just had to put some mole and vole repellent granules underneath because I think chipmunk or a vole is eating the roots. And there's another baby right there. These are primroses. These will have yellow flowers. And there's another hosta and several other hostas here. These are mums growing around this flowering crab. They'll bloom in the fall. And there's my little happy place where I sit. And this bed, now just remember there was nothing. Oh, I just hit my head on the branch. There was nothing here. I planted all these things, and it was just absolutely a joy. So here's some peonies here. These window boxes are all going to get planted with marigolds and herbs. And this is my project for next week. I have my containers, my fountain, and everything else all set up, ready to get filled up with potting soil. And it's actually, they're all sitting in my herb garden over there. These peonies are called sorbet, and I'll get another picture when they flower. And mostly in here, there's all different perennials. There's Gloriosa daisies, they're beautiful. There's different daylilies. There's bee balm here, coral bells, all different kind. And then the gardens go on and on up to that place where we were before. And in there is the iris bed, and they're ready to bloom. And that little angel back there is a memorial to my sister who passed away in 2019 from cancer. And she's with me in my heart and all the time, and she's in my gardens. And we'll just kind of go by here, and I'll just quickly show you. This I wanted to be mainly an herb bed. So these containers will be my green stock, and they get stocked one on top of each other, and I'll plant herbs and things in that. It's just that we're not really safe to plant a lot of things until Memorial Day because of the frost here in New Hampshire. And there's some beautiful daylilies. I left those there because they're double orange and they're so pretty. They look ruffled. So I left them there. I have sage growing here, and then the daffodils are all over and they're kind of going down. This is French sorrel, and it's already bolting. I have to cut it down and get some of those leaves so I can make my soup. And there's rosemary here. I just planted that because it doesn't winter over in New Hampshire, so you have to plant it every year. French tarragon is right here. I love that in soups and with meat, and it's delicious. And that comes up every year. And I hate to say it, but I forget this herb. I forget what it is. It's amongst the, it's here amongst the daffodil leaves that are going to be going down. Oh, what's the name? Oh, I forget the name of it, but it tastes like cucumbers. You put it in your salad. And I can't, I can't remember. Maybe I have the, oh, here it is. Salad Burnet. That's this one right here. And see, what I do with these white milk bottles is, because the container is so big, I collect them, I push them down in, and then I put all the soil, the potting soil on top of that, so it adds volume to the pot, so I'm not filling the whole thing up with potting soil, and everything does fine. As long as you have 3 or 4 inches of soil, everything does perfectly fine, because the soil will, I'll shake the pot, and the soil will get down amongst the bottles, and it works its way down in, so it's, the soil goes through that, but it adds a little bulk. I forget where I read that. And in here is chamomile, and they're not quite in full bloom, and once they're all in full bloom, I'll come out and cut the flower heads off and make tea. Back here we have horehound. I make cough drops from those in the winter. I take the leaves and put them into a tea, steep them into a tea, get the tea, and then I cool it off, and then I mix it with ginger and honey and sugar, and make little candies, little cough drops. And this over here is lemon verbena, which does not winter over up here in New Hampshire, so I have to order the plant every year, and I make tea from that as well. And that tea is the horehound cough drops are good for respiratory ailments and coughs, obviously. And this lemon verbena is a wonderful tea to relax you and help you sleep. So I have a couple of jars in the house of the dried leaves that I saved from last year. This is anise hyssop, and that also makes a nice tea, and it's good for respiratory. It's a little bit licoricey too. It has a taste of that. And here's a lavender. And these are all spirea. They have beautiful pink flowers. So I left them in instead of planting more herbs, because I'll put herbs and annual herbs into the green stalk. And this is the spot I'm preparing for the hydrangea that my daughter Melanie, gave me for Mother's Day. So that's my work still cut out. I still have a lot of seeds to plant, and I just wanted to clean up that middle bed today, so get that all done. Water and fill up the bird baths with water. And it's a beautiful day. Okay, folks and friends, I hope that was a good one, and I hope it recorded. Okay, Jamie.